yeah, let's try it out.
All right, go for it. Product placement. Be sure the bottle is visible.
I feel like the
Are you supposed to drink this?
I feel like the peanut butter does overpower the apple a little bit, but I feel like I do taste the apple.
Yeah, it tastes like a straight up funny bone.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
Yeah. Little hints of apple. It's like I'm tasting an apple pie, and somebody happened to put some like little bits of peanut butter in there.
Yeah, it's kind of like
yeah,
almost like a candy bar.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is the first episode of the 476 podcast. I'm Vinny.
I'm Chris.
And this first episode, we're just kind of talk about what the show itself is going to be about. Basically, Chris and I technically have known each other for a really long time, but weren't really friends until recently.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how long it's been since that break in time between talking now and being friends now and when we first met, which we'll get a little bit into later. But right now, we just want to talk about this delicious apple peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, this is pretty good. It's just a screwball whiskey, but smoked with applewood chips.
Yeah, we smoked it real slow because we had this awesome lighter, 2 of them actually, that work at a really slow pace and don't roast things quickly enough and intensely enough. So we're working with what we got right now.
Don't quite have the right tools for the job.
Yeah. Someday soon, though. We're going to hit the smoke shop. It's going to work out.
But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, this podcast is going to kind of basically be about kind of some of our life experiences, and kind of the way I would describe it is kind of like living kind of more of an alternative life. We want to talk about kind of like how we met through music and having not typical jobs, nightclub life, and
all that other cool shit you do besides working in like an office cubicle and all that boring stuff that you don't want to be involved in life, and just like not being able to tolerate working in that environment, being masochistic enough to subject yourself to a job in the music industry or in a nightclub life or at a bar or whatever it might be.
It's kind of not it's not exactly what you would think it is. So
yeah, it's interesting. It's more.
Yeah. It's definitely not for everybody, but I kind of feel like it's something everyone should experience.
Yeah, it's interesting how it's made out to be a job for people like with tough skin, but we're probably some of the most sensitive people that I know. Yeah. It's weird how like there's like that dichotomy between like being tough and resilient, but also like extremely fragile and not wanting to deal with other people in a professional sense.
Absolutely.
Maybe somewhere else that's like a corporate job or a corporate setting, and instead like wanting to be surrounded by other people that are kind of like you in that way, like people with severe drinking problems and that playing bands and shit like that.
Yeah, like I've had I've had a ton of different weird jobs and stuff. I worked retail for over 10 years, 10 plus years. Yeah.
Where'd you work?
I worked at Best Buy, Guitar Center, Rite Aid.
Right. Guitar Center is a big one too.
Yeah.
I sometimes forget that's a retail job.
Yeah. Also not a job you would think it is.
Yeah. So there's this like glamorized version of Guitar Center that like all musicians are like, dude, working at Guitar Center would be like the best kind of life. You get to just like go in and just jam all day on guitars. It's like, I know some people who work at Guitar Center and they beg to differ.
It's not at all that.
It kind of sucks in comparison, which you can speak a little bit more to that. Yeah. Having a manager, how's your manager there?
Honestly, when I got hired, I really liked him.
Yeah.
Some of the people that worked there didn't.
He's that dude with a giant beard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we actually all used to call him Batman. He is aware of that, so when he watches this.
Where does that nickname come from?
He kind of just had like this kind of like very serious, like right to the point, like you were almost afraid of him. Like, you didn't really know a lot about him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
his work and personal life were completely separate.
Yeah.
So when you're working for him, all you got was him at work.
Yeah.
And so, like, you didn't really know who he really was.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I would necessarily be the person I am now without working for him. And
Yeah.
I think he taught me a lot personally. He was really tough to work for, but I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it reflects my personality.
I think so too, actually, because like seeing you in that like client versus client versus I guess artist kind of relationship that you go in between, you don't really divulge a lot of personal information. You're just kind of like, this is like what I do, and this is like, it's not that you're mysterious in a way, but it's like keeping that separation between the two,
Sure.
whether it be conscious or unconscious, is like very obvious to me when I see you work with people.
Yeah, I can definitely see that in myself.
Yeah. It can be a good thing for sure.
And I don't know, it's kind of like why I think this podcast is going to be interesting, because even though a lot of like what we both do is art, but I feel like I don't actually get to put a lot of my personality out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like there's just a little bit more to it than that, And I think maybe a lot of like our personal experiences, and I don't know, I don't really want to call it hot takes. I think hot takes are stupid, but I think a lot of our professional, unprofessional opinions on things would be just really useful to people.
Yeah, no, I feel that same way too, because it's like almost it's we do the same things as so many other people in life, like be it music or video, audio stuff or whatever, or photography, but the kind of like self-deprecating, subversive opinions that go with it, like this is probably going to end up being much more bleak than I think we're going to intend. Because you'll get to see a lot of the dark sides of not only us, but other people as well.
Yeah.
Because other people can fucking suck sometimes.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. That is a common ground that we both share on several different levels. Yeah, man. How was your New Year though?
My New Year was great.
Yeah.
It's pretty low key. One of the things I look forward to every year for New Year's, honestly, is going to Dusk and just hang out with my friends.
I asked that knowing that we were going to spend it together.
Yeah. My Christmas was kind of the same, pretty low key. A lot of people had COVID, so saw my parents, saw Christine's parents, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of been a tradition for me every year to go to Dusk and put the ball drop on the big screen.
Yeah, that was pretty rad.
Yeah, that's just kind of something I look forward to now. It's kind of like when your dad just looks forward to putting the star on top of the Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's like for me, it's putting the ball drop on the screen at dusk. And then for a few years now, it's been just a personal tradition of mine to go to Buffalo Wild Wings New Year's Day as my like hangover cure, I guess.
That's an interesting tradition.
Always go. I get a big Blue Moon and some real salty, spicy wings, and that's about it.
Sick.
Do you have any kind of weird personal traditions or anything?
Honestly, I've just winged it every year of my life, every day of my life. I mostly don't know what I'm doing, so I don't have like this like weird ritual. But I will say that this is like the first New Year's that I've spent watching the ball drop at dusk.
Oh, cool.
Last New Year's is when I first started dating Danielle, who, for those of you who don't know, is the bartender at Dusk. And I started dating her that morning at like 5 in the morning of New Year's Day. And I got to Dusk at like 2 in the morning, New Year's Day, technically. So it was after the ball dropped. Everybody had left. Everything was done. And we hung out and did all this stuff. I won't bore you with the details, but that was the first time I'd seen the ball drop, and it was pretty fucking awesome. Yeah. Everybody drank champagne and chilled, and the parallel between me hanging out there last New Year's and me being behind the bar this New Year's, like serving people, was just, it was really bizarre to think about. Like I never thought, I haven't gone far, but I never thought that I'd be like here now, it's cool, including this podcast, because like I've never done this before. I've talked to myself into a recording device a lot before, but this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. So it's rad.
Yeah, I've always personally wanted to host my own podcast. I've worked in production on a lot of podcasts before.
We're living it, buddy.
Which is actually, really funny because someone that's produced podcasts and stuff, kind of getting this one off the ground is fun because we're literally just doing this in my apartment.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a similar scene of Dexter. We took inspiration from that show, and we actually have several bodies decapitated.
Yes, we do.
And put to the side now. Hence this backdrop, which we chose black instead of clear for style reasons. But
yeah, we had to keep it goth.
Yeah, keep it goth. Keep it cult.
Yep.
Yeah, but this is really fucking rad. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, Chris and I met on Craigslist when how old were we? Like
I think I was 14.
Yeah, I must have
been 15. Some crazy ass young age like that.
Yeah, we were young. So originally, I started this band called She Said That when I was in high school, and even till when the band broke up just a couple years ago, it's always just kind of a revolving door for band members.
Yep.
And before there was Bands in Town or Band Mix or whatever,
there was Craigslist.
There was Craigslist, and so I would always find people to be in my band on Craigslist, and I think Chris was one of the first people to ever respond to one of my Craigslist ads.
Yep.
And I remember I was too young for my mom to let me meet anyone on Craigslist.
Wow.
And I remember telling her, like, hey, I met someone who wants to audition for my band, and she was like, absolutely not.
Wow. That's so funny, dude. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
And so like years went on, and various jobs and whatnot later, I ended up like actually having a conversation with Chris at dusk.
So bizarre. And so weird.
And it's like I feel like I've done sound for your bands like multiple times, but we never really talked.
Yeah.
Because even when we had that conversation, like I knew who you were. And I think one of the first things you said, I think like we were both like pretty drunk.
Yeah.
But you were like,
I needed that to actually be able to like, talk to you too.
I think the first thing you said is, "Do you remember me from Craigslist?" And I was like, honestly, I do.
I was like, yeah. I was like, I had to have been drunk because I knew that the first thing I was gonna say to you was, "Do you remember me from Craigslist?" And I was like, this is gonna be so weird, and it's gonna be weird. And if he's weird, then it'll be cool. And if he's not weird, then this is gonna suck ass for me. But you were weird, and that was awesome. Yep. On the exact flip side of that coin too, my mom should have never given me an internet connection at that age. She didn't care what I did at all. And that was kind of freeing for me because it was like I had this like thing that people told me about, which was again Craigslist, that I was like, all right, I'm going to use this as a vehicle to make my dreams come true. Ever since I was young enough to be able to, or old enough to be able to like play like 5 chords, I was just like, just whatever it is, just like punk, like whatever, I want to play it. I had a particular interest in like Blink-182 at the time, so I was very interested in playing a pop punk band.
Yep.
Which I kind of didn't really understand genres at that point in my life. I just like wanted to play something punk adjacent.
That's how I felt back then.
But it couldn't be more opposite for me too, because I was like meeting up with like random like 30-year-old people, and it was shady and weird, but they were kind of
in cover bands.
Yeah, which is like they were kind of put off by my age, and I didn't understand why nobody wanted to play in a band with me until I like got older and was like, oh yeah, I was like a toddler basically, like meeting these like
grand scheme of it.
Yeah, meeting these like graying like 30 to 40-year-old men who were just like, yeah, you just want to jam, man.
Which is how old we are now.
Yeah, exactly. So one day that was one of the ads or whatever that you answered. That I was like, oh, dude, this actually seems like one of the legitimate ones.
Yeah.
There's a few that were like you, but mostly it was just like you that I was like, okay, I could probably be in a band with this dude, because it was like the pop punk, need a guitar player or whatever. I think I was playing drums at the time.
Yeah.
So that might have been the instrument of choice. So I was super excited, but of course with Craigslist, it never comes to fruition.
Yeah. Yep.
So years pass, and I've had the same job for like 10 years. It's really depressing. But before that, I was doing like furniture, moving stuff, and I've been working at this place called Patuxent Auto Service. And I started there as a gas attendant. I'm now working on cars, but it was like 10 to 15 years later now. I'm like still hanging out at dusk, and I saw Vinnie from somewhere across the room, I'm not sure. And I was like, I think that's that dude. I kept like hearing your voice brought up, and it was like, that's Vinny, blah blah blah. And I was like, I think that's that dude Vinny. I think that's Vinny Bellows, because like I don't forget names.
It's
it's like
from Craigslist.
Yeah, I've got like a weird thing where I don't like forget names or like numbers, but like I forget faces really fucking easily.
Oh man, I'm just as bad with both.
Yeah, it's terrible. So I legit people that I've seen like multiple times that I didn't learn their name and I've met them. They'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, it's great.
Like,
I don't know.
Like the second someone tells me their name, I immediately forget it.
Oh yeah, totally. And that's 100% like a combination of ADHD and severe anxiety issues.
It's awful.
Like you're playing out like 18 different scenarios in your head at the time that you're meeting somebody, and you just have to like run with them.
And like what's also crazy too that I've realized that I do, if I don't see someone for like a couple weeks, I forget what they look like. Like I would recognize them if I saw them, but ask me to draw like a picture. I mean, I can't draw anyways.
Yeah.
But ask me to draw a picture, could not do it.
Yeah, straight up.
Like I forget faces, I forget names. Like it's almost like, I don't know. It's like I forget sometimes that things completely even existed. Like it's
wow. The etch or sketch of your brain has completely shaken and erased all of the memories.
And like, and so actually I haven't tried this yet, but I don't know. I'm always on the internet trying to learn new things, and I've been trying to just find like new tips to help your memory. And I found this thing the other day, and again, I haven't tried it yet, but supposedly.
And you forgot about it.
Yes, and I forgot about it. Supposedly, if you're trying to remember something, if you make a fist with your dominant hand at the same time, it does something in your brain that makes the part of your brain that makes you remember things react.
Wow.
So if you make a fist while you're trying to remember something, you'll actually remember it better.
That's cool. So it's like everybody that you meet is like, man, that guy was like, he was really cool to talk to, but like, I think he wanted to fight me.
Literally.
It's like, why do you say that? Well, it's like every single time that I had like told him my name or something about my life, it's like he clenched his fist, and I thought that he wanted to punch me in the face.
He's got this like weird tick.
Yeah. It's like, no, it's cool, dude. I'm just using my memorization techniques. It's chill.
And like, I don't know, like I've never really tried any like techniques before.
Yeah.
Especially like, I don't know, I was never really like a great student. Like I tend to not really try to learn things I don't care about. Which I did not really realize till later on in my life. I dropped out of college twice. Was an okay student in high school, but like
same story for me.
My parents had to like push me, like bribing me with like guitar amps, like new guitars and stuff. Like if I got like an A, like I'd go to the music store and pick something out.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I got to college and like I just did not care. Like I tried, couldn't find anything I was interested in, changed my major like 100 times, and then dropped out, and then went to community college. Hated that completely. My grades were a lot better because I was older and trying to be more responsible. But now it's like things that I'm interested in, just I spend all of my time just trying to learn more about it.
Same here.
Still can't remember everything, but I'm actually trying to get my drone license still, and the fact I haven't taken the test yet is like, it's kind of driving me crazy.
A drone license?
Yeah, so you actually need an FAA license to charge money to fly a drone.
Oh shit. Okay. I didn't know that.
You're allowed to fly it recreationally, but you know, with like my business and stuff, I have people asking me for drone stuff, and I can't charge anything for it. I can still include it in the product, but I can't make any money with it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you been doing anything with your drone lately, like different projects or anything?
It's been a little while since I've flown it. I do want to bring it over to Prospect Hill soon.
Yeah.
Just that's such a cool view. I did some nighttime photography there. Yeah. Probably last winter.
A beautiful place in Providence, by the way.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really cool.
See the whole skyline. But yeah, I keep thinking about it. I can't even tell you the last time I charged it.
Yeah. That was one of the things for me too, when we had that one day when it was like really, really fucking nice out, and it was me, you, and Kai. Kai, one of the lovely people who dates one of the bartenders at Dusk, who is a good friend of ours.
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out, Kai. Woo! He was in the parking lot with us, and we were flying the drone. And I was like, I wanted a drone for a while, but I'll probably never get one. But it was like such like a letdown, like hearing how long the battery lasted and like all the shortcomings of it, that I was like, Oh, that's it? That's damn.
Dude, the amount of money those things cost and
Yeah.
how long they fly for is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
The
The parallel between the two is
the
not
newer one's supposed to be a little bit better, but it's twice the price.
Oh, wow. So you get like 30 minutes of charging
Yeah,
life
it's
versus
just
like
like
now you get like 45.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I don't know, like I kind of never thought I would be kind of doing what I do now, especially like working retail for so long. And like I mean, like I've done all sorts of weird jobs. Like my first job ever, I was a dishwasher at an assisted living facility in the kitchen.
Really?
And so my mom was like a manager at one of the other branches, or like a director, I forget what they called them.
Hmm.
But she dealt with like HR and like that kind of stuff. I honestly couldn't even tell you her whole thing there. I was too young. But she got me a job during the summer, working at her location doing maintenance.
Oh.
So maintenance at assisted living, because you doing a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, it's that's where people live, so you're fixing everything. So lots of hands-on experience. My dad was a mechanic in the military, so
I didn't know that.
I grew up like him showing me how to fix my own stuff. Like even when I unfortunately made the dumb decision to buy a BMW years ago, my dad being super angry because I'm asking him for help to fix a German car in the driveway and taking 8 hours just to change a headlight.
And he was like, "Man, you could have just got a." Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I never thought I would be where I am now. Going from that to retail. I did landscaping with my cousin. When he was doing real estate, I was helping him, flip houses. And, I've done all sorts of stuff. And one day, I ended up getting the job at Rite Aid, and man, I hated that job more than anything. Dude. Like I'd never been in like such a low point in my life. Like I hated that job. And I remember I got the opportunity to go on a tour with a local Providence band called Barbarian. And
shout out Barbarian.
And I hadn't worked at Rite Aid for a year yet. They had already transferred me. I was at my third store. They transferred me to a 24-hour store, and I was an assistant store manager.
What shifts were you working?
So I was supposed to be day or evening. Yeah. And unfortunately, the 24-hour store, the nighttime supervisors called out. You had to stay, and just that was happening. All the time. I wasn't getting training there at all. This is all right before they got sold to Walgreens, and just nobody cared. And I was on my third store. I worked in a store in Cranston for a little while, which was really good. But the store manager ended up getting like really sick, so they transferred me to another store to get training. Yeah, they had another assistant store manager, so there was two of us, and no one taught me how to do anything. Yeah, and the store manager would ask me like all the time, "Hey man, like you don't seem like you're happy today," and I'm like, "Dude, like
yeah, no shit.
I'm trying to like be good at my job, and everyone here is making it so hard. Yeah, I literally moved for this job somewhere I didn't want to live." And like during this time, I got the opportunity with Barbarian, and it was one of those things like trying to be responsible, put work first, trying to, do what my parents want me to do, have a good job, whatever. I was making pretty decent money, and but I was like, I have to at least ask my boss if I can go on the tour. I know he's gonna say no, but I have to at least ask
for sure.
And I go to the store manager because technically he was my direct chain of command. And I remember being like, "Hey man, like you can say no, but can I go on this tour?" And he was like, "Oh, you're a manager, you have to ask corporate." So I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So I sent an email to corporate. They don't say anything. I send another one. They don't say anything. And then one of the corporate managers was in the store one day, and I was like, "Hey, I don't know if you saw my emails." He's like, "Oh, why are you asking us?" He's like, "You have a store manager. You should be asking him." So I was like, "Okay." Yeah. So I tell him this information, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what, man?" He's like, "You don't have vacation time." I was like, "Oh, I'm aware it's going to be unpaid time," but I was like, "Again, you can say no, just I have to ask. I can't." It's a moral thing. I told my band that I would ask if I could go. If you say no, I don't go. If you say yes, then I go. It is what it is. Yeah, for sure. So he tells me I can go. And 2 days before we leave for the tour, I get called into his office. Yeah. A bunch of people from corporate are there, and they accuse me of time theft.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
They send me home. They suspend me. 3 days later, I get a voicemail letting me go.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So
never work for Rite Aid, kids.
I came home to no job. So I was the only person in my band that didn't smoke cigarettes. And we had borrowed a van from someone that the windows didn't go down. And so the band was hotboxing the van.
Yeah, that's the best way, because then you get like multiple cigarettes at once. Yeah.
And I was coughing. I actually ended up breaking a rib from coughing.
Dude, really?
Yep.
Oh, you didn't tell me about that.
Doing vocals in the band. By the last day of tour, man, I remember the band we were on tour with, Rip Anna Safera. They're not a band anymore.
Anna Safera.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I wanted to do guest vocals on a song they had so bad.
Now were you the bass player and the vocalist, or just the vocalist?
I did lead guitar and backing vocals.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I wanted to do guest vocals with this band so bad, and just from all the cigarettes, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so I came home, and actually right before the tour, at the same time that stuff was going down at Rite Aid, I had actually lost my place to live.
Whoa.
So a friend of mine who lived down the street from where I was living let me crash on his couch until the tour. But when I came home sick and with a broken rib, I had no job, and he actually ended up pretty much taking care of me for like months.
Wow.
Just letting me hang out on his couch and stuff. And then I eventually ended up moving back to my parents' house, and kind of decided I wanted to take the leap into doing like live sound full time.
So that was your transition into just going for it.
Yeah. I had always kind of done both. I had always like done sound, at Dusk, some other clubs and stuff, but it wasn't. I always thought I should have like a real job, real job,
quote unquote.
Yeah,
for sure.
And because that's just always something I was pushed to doing by everyone around me. And
same.
Kind of when I made that decision, I just went all in. I spent all my time just on the internet, like learning and talking to people, making connections, learning. And
yeah.
I remember when I was living at my mom's, like just my mom and dad just always thought I was like just literally doing nothing. And then I started getting tour offers and stuff, and like it started becoming real. And then that's kind of what snowballed me into starting 476 Productions in the first place.
Yeah. Which it's awesome because you've done a lot. This is your roster of like things that you've done, like the entire like I guess resume at this point, because you do have like a resume of it, is pretty massive. Even of just what I've seen since knowing you, the second time knowing you, has been fucking massive, and kind of like I have a great respect for people with really high work ethic, and just seeing that was like very impressive to me too, because I don't know a lot of people that bust their asses the way that you do, and like a lot of different sound engineers do. Like it's a specific breed of people that is like very driven to just like do shit they don't get recognized for.
Yep.
And that there's not much reward for, but they just love it.
Yeah, it's like, again, like it's weird. I never saw it as something I could actually like be doing. So like it's crazy to I mean, granted, since COVID, it's not necessarily paying the bills anymore, but
yeah, for sure.
To be able to kind of take something that is like your passion or something you're interested in, it's cool to just do that full time.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty rare I set an alarm. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like usually if I'm setting an alarm, it's because like I'm waiting for FedEx to bring me a new toy.
For sure. No, I feel the same way. Yeah. Do you have any advice for anybody that would be like an aspiring like kind of person trying to get into live sound or just live music and stuff? Because we've had some people that we've seen approach us at Dusk, or not us, but the other staff who does sound at Dusk. I've seen random kids just being like, "Can I work here doing sound? Yeah. Can I do this? Can I do that?" What would you say to those people, and do you have any sort of like tips that you could give them to steer them in the right direction in terms of working smart?
Probably the most important thing I could say to anyone that wants to do anything creative, or honestly do anything at all, is just do it and do it 100%.
Absolutely.
I see a lot in our community, especially, being a musician, and I kind of did this too, I really never saw myself as behind the scenes guy, as a guitar player. I was always like, man, like I want to be like lead guitar. I want to be the lead guitar player on tour. Like I want to be like the guy.
Yeah.
And, that kind of never happened for me, but it opened up all these other doors for me to do all this behind the scenes stuff. And when I was learning how to do this stuff and like taking my first jobs, it wasn't good. I was not good at it. It was hard. You know, it was very difficult. I wasn't making any money at first.
Yeah.
And you know, it's really it's not that glamorous. You know, it's very stressful.
Yeah.
But it's equally as rewarding as it is stressful. But if I gave up at the first sign of it getting complicated, I wouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know as for a lot of creatives, it's like that's all they want to do, but you know, they get told no, you know, 99 times,
Mm.
and you know, all of a sudden that 100th time could be your biggest thing you've ever done, but if you get discouraged by that, it's just never going to happen.
That's the coup de grace. Yeah.
You know.
I think of it in the same way that I think of a lot of aspiring actors too. The rejection that you'll never get prepared for the amount of rejection that you have to experience too. Not that I'm an actor, by the way. I wish I was, but just the constant failure, and not realizing that that's your path to like lead you to being the skilled person that you want to be.
Yep.
You know, that you have to be, again, thick-skinned for and prepared for, and ready to be like, no, I'm gonna weather this storm and just like try to get past this, you know.
Yeah, it's all about confidence, you know. It's like, yeah, it does suck being told no that many times, but
Yeah,
you know, if there's something you really want to do and you work at it, especially if you want to be good at it and you actually work towards it, you'll get better and eventually, you know. And it's like every time you're told no, you're getting new experience.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's opening a new door.
Yeah, and it's like as long as you stay humble, you know, if like especially, you know, when I was a retail manager, I would actually go to job interviews all the time just so I could get better at interviewing people so I could hire better employees.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Every single time I wouldn't get offered a job, not that I plan on taking the jobs, I probably wasted a bunch of people's time, but I would always ask, what do you think I could improve on?
Yeah.
And you know, that constructive criticism is huge, you know what I mean?
It really is.
And that's something that even in, you know, the creative field, that's something you should know, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I mean, from my personal experience, 9 times out of 10, it's people usually don't want to work with you because of your ego,
Absolutely,
or because of their ego.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to start a band right now, and nobody wants to be in a band with me.
Oof.
But I am known for kicking a lot of people out of bands, so
that can be a deterrent. But you know what?
That's on me.
But you know what? You stand by that decision. You have conviction behind it, and there's always a reason. Knowing you at this point now, I don't think you would do anything without a completely valid reason to do so. So
yeah, and you know,
please don't ever kick me out if we start a band together.
We'll see how it goes.
All right.
But you know, on the flip side of those things too, it's like people don't always have to have a reason to not want to work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone, yeah, that's not now. I kind of make the most of my living doing photography. And the amount of times I've reached out to people that I've wanted to shoot with, even for free, you know, I'm just like, hey, like I like what you're working with, like let's do a shoot. I'll shoot you for free. And they're like, nah, I'm good. And I'm just like, okay, you want to tell me why? No. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I respect that more than people who are just like, not and petty about it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know, just because like I feel like you don't need a reason to say no to people.
It's
sort of like a weird yes man kind of thing.
100%. That's something I learned the hard way.
Yeah, definitely. Thinking about that parallel of just like being told no is hard, but like saying no to people is way easier. Like I like the amount of times that I do it per week is like picking popcorn out of a fucking bowl.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy. For me, at least at this point, just because I've gotten so intolerant of people bullshitting me, you know what I mean? And being like tired of wasting my time, blah, blah, blah.
That's something that I think everyone should get comfortable with. And like, it is hard, you know what I mean? Like I think everyone has a fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And I think, people kind of project that onto other people in any circumstance they could be in, you know what I mean? Like their fear of being rejected is like, when like, when they have to reject someone else, it's like they try to let them down softly, and it's like sometimes you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like things don't always have to be hard, but like it's okay. Like you worked all week and you don't feel like going out on a Saturday night with your friends, you can just tell them no, you're tired.
Absolutely.
If they want to be butthurt about it, their butthurt. It is what it
For
is.
sure. You get the same result each time. I think it's going to be harder for you, if anything, is if you try to go about it in a soft way, kind of being like, I don't know about that, because people can tell that you're bullshitting. Right. And when they do, they kind of lose respect for you. So it's much more of a, I don't want to say a power move because I don't get off on that kind of thing, but like it's much more of like I guess a personally empowering thing. Yeah. To say no and have conviction behind saying no for the reasons that you actually mean it.
I mean, it's like you got to put yourself first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like for whatever reason you want to do something, you don't necessarily owe that to people. If you want to tell them, sure. Yeah. Like, I mean, the truth is great. Yeah. You know, and I feel like that's something I learned the older I've gotten too. You know, stop lying to my parents. Stop lying to people about dumb shit.
I feel the exact same way. I was actually a habitual liar for most of my young life.
I think most people were.
Yeah, couldn't just because we didn't have like consciences until we were like 19, maybe. Given the most amount of age that.
I mean, it's like once things happen to you like enough times and to the point where like it really cuts you deep. I feel like you just don't learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when they do, you're like, oh, that was me that was doing that. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then you start to completely change your tune, which is like, I'm still learning. Trust me, every single day. Like, definitely not a perfect person by any standard, but I'm like confident that I'm proud of who I am now versus who I was 10 years before this. Honestly, I've really like learned so much about like the human spirit of other people's spirit rather than my own, and like putting people first before I put myself first, because like it's just cruel to step on other people for your own gain. Definitely. I fucking hate that. And I've learned that. I think I've always felt that, but now it's much more solidified after having it done to me. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean it's a tough lesson to learn. And I mean, honestly, I think that's why so many people kind of have anxiety now, because it's like, I mean, I don't think I know any real extroverts. I mean, I might know like one or two, but like for the most part, everyone I know is very introverted. Yeah. I honestly am too. Like, I don't really present that to people. Like, I have like the me everybody knows, but honestly, like I live by myself. I love living by myself. You know, I got my cats, and honestly, I don't really go anywhere. Yeah. You know, and but at the same time, it's like I think a lot of that is just like, it's so hard to deal with people and what people think and or what they don't think, and I have conversations with people that are close to me all the time, and I'm just like, I feel like someone told other people this about me, and I don't know if they said that, and I don't have any reason to think that that's what happened, but that's what I think, and it's just but at the same time, it's like when I actively just kind of ignore those thoughts in my head and I just like do whatever I'm gonna do, it's I feel better.
Absolutely. And you're talking into an echo chamber with that too, because I was literally just saying this the other day, and Danielle called me out on it actually, and she's like, well, you do that all the time. You think these things are happening that are not true. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, but I like in my intuition, like I know that they're true. And she's like, prove it. Yep. I'm like, I can't. Yeah. I feel it. Yeah. And she's like, well, your feelings might be right, but you know, this is not verbatim. This is kind of paraphrasing a little bit, but your feelings might be right, but essentially, like, you're basically wrong. Like, you don't know what people think about you, and you can't even begin to describe it. Right. And again, that kind of reiterates, like, I can't just jump to conclusions about things like that too, which is terrible for my anxiety, you know?
Yeah, that's a big thing I learned over the last couple of years, is that see things through. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, that could mean whatever that means to you, just see it through. You know what I mean? Back to just if there's like something you want to do for work or art or whatever it is you want to do, see that through. Yeah. But if you're having, you know, doubts about something because of whatever preconceived notions are in your head, just see it through. Yeah. See what happens. Yeah. So I think therapy is a really good thing. I've never been to therapy in that sense, but I think a lot of people need it. A lot of people should go. Everyone needs someone to talk to. But my sister kind of would tell me some things that her therapist would say to her, and one thing that really stood out to me like my whole life, and she's told me this years ago, but she told me one day that her therapist really helped her. She just said, I don't even remember what the context was, but just this simple question of what's the worst that could happen. And I was like, I don't know.
Mm.
And then she was like, no. What's the worst that could happen?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. Well, if you're asking me, then I was like, because like I forget, we were talking about something stupid too.
Yeah.
And
sure. Which is how it starts.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's, and things tend to snowball. So if you start from the littlest thing about your day, what's the worst that could happen? Like, oh, I forgot to brush my teeth today. Oh no, someone might think my breath is bad.
Absolutely.
Well, is that like the worst thing that could happen to you?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for some people it is.
Yeah.
But
in which case, that's an entirely new topic of discussion for
Sure.
the therapist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could probably do a whole session about
Yeah.
that specific subcategory of anxiety.
But it's like, me when I decided to take that tour.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? I thought about that, and I was kind of like, so honestly, if they told me I couldn't go on the tour, I was going to quit my job anyways.
Yep.
So
you had already decided what your plan was without even really realizing it.
And granted, I wasn't sure if I was going to quit my job. I wasn't put in the situation to, in my head, I was like, if they told me no, I'm going anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't put in that situation, so I can't tell you if I actually would have done that or not.
Right.
I would like to say that I would have.
Yeah. But let's go with that one because it sounds cool.
But like even thinking about that, I was like, okay, well, I come home and I have no job. But also at that point in my life, I wasn't actually thinking about that. I was kind of like, oh, this is my chance. I finally have
the tour was so much more
following,
infinitely exciting to you than ever going back to that place to do a shift.
And that tour was only like a week and a half. It wasn't even like,
but it feels like an eternity, right?
Dude, like we were playing like pool halls and pizza places. I think we played like I had to bring a PA and do sound at like 4 of the shows.
Wow,
you know what I mean? Like it wasn't.
Yeah, you guys are probably sharing gear.
It wasn't even like anything like crazy, but like for me it was like just I saw it happening and I was like it's I was at the point in my life like I was just ready to do that full time.
Sure.
And for me it was like the worst that could happen was I do this and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm broke and I'm happy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because I'm doing something I love.
Yeah. And I kind of just I just never let that feeling go.
That's awesome.
And it's like even even now, like sometimes I'm like, oh, broke this week, but I did exactly what I wanted to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel the same way. I was lucky enough to be in a similar situation in the family business I work for. Quick top off of the delicious Screwball peanut butter whiskey.
Yes, get yourself some Screwball. We are not sponsored, by the way.
We are not. We just enjoy it. Actually, Vinny introduced me to this the other month at the bar. He's like, you want a shot of Screwball? I'm like, what the hell is that? He's like, oh, it's just whiskey. It tastes like peanut butter. And immediately compared it to a Funny Bone, in which case he said yes. And the rest is history.
Much similar.
Delicious, and also delicious when it's combined with like an apple flavor.
Yes.
So pretty tight.
The apple smoking was a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to have a family business job, family run kind of thing where I thought I was being ballsy. Like in my head, I thought I was like way more badass than I was. Like, this is my first tour. My first tour ever is going to be a 2.5 week tour. If my boss says no to me, I'm quitting on the spot. Yeah. And I was like so fucking ready for it. And he's like, no, you've been doing a good job. Sure, take it. And I was like, I came in guns blazing into his office. And honestly, I didn't consider the fact that I was like, oh yeah, there's 3 other gas attendants. I'm not that valuable.
Yeah.
So I was stoked and I left. And it's the exact same thing for me, honestly. Playing music is all I've ever wanted to do. Being a part of musical culture is all I've ever wanted to be a part of. And as soon as I got that chance, I just can't stop chasing that feeling. Yeah,
it feels like nothing else.
Yeah. It
feels
really,
like nothing else.
For those of you who think that touring is a glamorous lifestyle, it is not. When we started touring in bands, I guarantee you, Vinny had the same experiences eating peanut butter bread with me, and just drinking alcohol and just never getting hydrated at all.
Just a single piece of bread cut in half with 3 pieces of cheese.
Yeah, just delicious. Just the chef's kiss.
Just hot whiskey out of the back of the van. Oof.
You don't know whether it's urine or whiskey at this point because so many people have just pissed in the bottles back there.
Waking up with the Bud Light from the day before and there's no water.
Yeah. You think you're going to see beautiful things like on tour. We're going to go like, we're going to visit Mount Rushmore and shit. Like, no, your sights and the things that you see are the same 4 gas stations in rotation forever.
Actually, you know what? I have got to do a couple cool things touring with the band Kingsman.
Oh, cool.
Those guys, so every band I've been on tour with has for the most part treated me really well, but those guys treated me especially well, and I think it's because they have such a respect for themselves. Every tour that I've ever gone on with them and that they've planned, there's always time to enjoy. You know what I mean? Like we've
That's
always,
awesome.
and granted, sometimes like we've gone to do things, we'd be like, oh, there's no way we're parking a van and trailer, or there's,
Yeah.
but we always at least make an attempt, like planning like days off to go to New York and just go to every restaurant we can possibly find.
What are our off days? What can we do?
Like,
Yeah.
Like making sure while I'm setting up at a venue, they'll go grab food and be like, dude, we found like the best restaurant. We had to get you something. You know what I mean? Like it was so good, and like we realized like you're here working, we're out having fun, and and it's like they always make sure I get to experience like something while I'm on tour.
That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of an essential thing is like the people that you tour with are the most important part of it besides the experiences that you have, really, because they're the people that you're stuck in a very, 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 very tight seating position with for a long time.
Being on tour kind of does suck.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, like, I was before that, I'm weird. So before that, I was already used to sleeping on kitchen floors just because I wanted to.
I prefer sleeping on the floor, to be honest with you.
Yep, it's nice. Be it cold or warm, I like them both. Next to refrigerators, it's warm. Guaranteed. I recommend that one. Oh, there's a little bug on the table.
Is there?
Yeah, look at that little guy. It will move. It's not a piece of spit, I swear. It's frozen in fear because it thinks it's going to be killed.
See him on the camera. The camera's too far away.
Yeah. Unless it somehow grows into a giant monster. In which case this will... Oh, it's flying now.
Oh, I think you got him. Oh, nope, I see him.
Oh, no, it's flying.
Yeah, I got fruit flies.
Yeah.
It's awful.
He is in the process of killing them all though. So.
Yeah, I've been trying these like vinegar traps. Actually, my girlfriend Christine got me also shout out to my boy Jake Mio, who's been tattooing my whole body recently.
Shout out Jake.
Him and his buddy were telling me one day you can get like these little apples at like the store. It's like looks like this little plastic apple that's got like this little vinegar trap. So my girlfriend got me a couple of those, and yeah, they're working.
Oh, they get you. They're pre-made like that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they have like this little solution in like a plastic that you just put some hot water, put the top back on there, lasts for 30 days. The bugs get in there, they can't get back out. They get trapped and they die. And you just dump it out, fill it back up, put the pack in there.
That's awesome. The homemade traps were what I was doing for the practice space that I have, which it's a bunch of like 20-something-year-old guys drinking beer, so the beers get left open, the fruit flies come. I was taking like little whiskey glasses like these actually, and filling them with apple cider vinegar, water, and soap.
Yes.
Putting plastic saran wrap on the top and poking holes in it with a toothpick, and that's how they would get in. It's kind of a DIY version of that. It's so satisfying coming back to it, looking like this underneath the glass. And seeing just
all of them,
just all of them, just a graveyard of fruit flies. I'm very against killing things, but there's a certain species of bug that I don't care about killing. Maybe I'm a hypocrite.
I don't like things that honestly just pests in general.
How do you feel about fleas? The worst, right?
Get them away from me.
Yeah, get them away from me. Kill them on site.
I had fleas in here once, and I don't know where they came from.
Maybe a cat. If it got out.
So my cats are indoor. They've always been indoor. They have not gotten out in years.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything to treat them, and they just disappeared.
Did you bring in a piece of furniture from outside?
No.
Oh, that's how I got them.
So we thought that we had got some furniture from a friend, and we thought so they had cats. We thought it was because of that. But I don't know.
That was
they were just gone. I think it's just so someone else had a pet that had fleas and came in here and they were hopping around, but
must have been.
Yeah,
honestly.
Because like I've seen them like jumping and I'm like, oh, that is a flea.
Yeah, it's fucked up. I'll give a quick story just because of my traumatic experience with the fleas. I have such an intense and satanic hatred for these things. Like I turn into another person when I see a flea, which I haven't in a very long time, thankfully. I'm an idiot and went to get a like kind of a love seat kind of thing off the road in a rural neighborhood somewhere in Warwick. Put it in my car, brought it home. I was super happy with it. 3 days later, I see my cat hiding under a table. She stayed there for 2 days.
Oh no.
Only left to eat food. By the second day, I was obviously very concerned. She's my baby, and I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I pick her up. I'm like, "She's been under the table for 2 fucking days," and I'm like petting her and stuff. And like in a moment of like parting her hair from like where her ear is, I see this thing crawl back. I'm like, "Ugh, we have fleas.
Yep.
We have fucking fleas." At that same time, I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I was getting bites on my ankles when I went to bed at night because your ankles are closest to the floor, so they're easy targets. These fuckers were jumping up onto my bed, eating the flesh off of my ankles, and thinking about it made my skin crawl. Just thinking about it.
That's so just rude and disrespectful.
It's just rude coming to my house and bite my ankles.
That's how I feel about the fruit flies. I'm like, why you got to be in my space?
Yeah, I didn't let you in here. I'd just be drinking.
Yep.
But yeah, I like it. For me specifically, it was just the most intense pain because they just keep biting my ankles. I guess they like the sweet smell of my like candy laced blood, which is all I eat. So I would immediately scratch the flea bites and they would just immediately ooze and bleed. Yep. And I was like, fuck, this is so metal, but also like very dark at the same time. And I'm in pain. Yep. So I like took a bath every day and like treated them. But finally, I won't keep this going anymore. But to kill those fuckers, my mom set up flea traps everywhere in the house. She like researched it on Google because she was hell bent on killing them. Of a dish with soapy water in it and a light bulb above it. So they would jump into the light because they like light bulbs and fall into the soapy water. Yep. That plus this stuff called diatomaceous earth, which you spread all on your floor. The diatomaceous earth cripples the fleas. Their exoskeletons become like totally, bent inwards. And then they would still try to jump into the flea traps and they would get killed. Nice. So eventually, after like 4 days, it killed all of them. But we went through trial and error trying to kill them.
So I understand that certain animals eat insects. And without those insects, those animals will not exist.
Like what?
Like bats or like anteaters.
Oh, totally.
I don't know. I think anteaters only eat ants. I don't really know. Not a zoologist.
Yeah, I'm not a zoologist.
Certain animals need those.
I mean, it's in the motherfucking name. So
I just wish there was no bugs or insects. I hate them all.
Yeah. Man, that's again
a strong word.
But I feel like it seems hypocritical for me to hate them, but I really don't care if they live.
Yo, I have arachnophobia.
You really? Danielle does too. I love spiders
to like an uncomfortable level. So I've always lived in like unfinished basements. I'm always like surrounded by spiders. No big deal, whatever. But man, I feel like I don't know what it is. Like the older I get, I don't know. Maybe it had to do with was it the guy from Cannibal Corpse sat on a toilet seat or whatever, got bit by a spider and died. I think I read that on the internet.
Was it that?
Something. He died from a spider bite. They don't know where he got it from.
Oh,
it was on his butt. So.
I had no idea. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I assume so because they tour a lot. Maybe they were in like Argentina or something.
I don't know. Like I just ever since whatever I read on the internet that was similar to that story. I could be making that up.
Okay, it sounds vaguely familiar. We'll fact check that later.
Yeah. We don't have a producer to look that up for us.
Yeah. It's just our fingers.
But ever since I heard about whatever that was, no, like I like
just no.
Like I like know how like in Tom and Jerry when Jerry would run into the room and the lady in the house would jump on the stool.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. That's how I feel.
That's me with spiders. I'm like,
that's me with people. Yeah, that sucks ass.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I've become the designated spider guy around the house too. Like when Danielle's like, "Nah, it's on the ceiling. It's on the ceiling. Get the fuck out of the room." I'm the one who has to go get the paper towel and stuff. I love spiders so much. Like I want to get a spider for our room, like a tarantula, but she won't let us.
I couldn't do. I would burn the house down.
Yeah, she do the same. But every single time that I want to get it, she tells me to kill it. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. But I like grab them and I like put it in my hand and like I do like the Gandalf thing where you like clench your fist like that. And then I just gently place it outside. But I totally, for the record, like get people understanding.
Yo, know how like there's stories of parents getting like extraordinary strength when their kids are in danger?
Yeah.
When I see a spider, I get extraordinary strength. Dude, I'm just like, all I can think in my mind is like I need to Superman punch that thing, but
Yep.
like actually hit it as hard as Superman can.
Yeah.
And like I don't care if I break my entire house apart.
But then
this thing.
But then what if that spider's made of what's that shit he's allergic to?
Oh, of kryptonite?
Kryptonite.
Oh man, well I guess I'm gonna die.
So then it's one of those like ironic situations where your fear kills you. It's the death of you.
And I don't know, maybe that's why I'm so afraid of spiders.
Because they're made of kryptonite?
I mean, it's kind of an irrational fear.
Yeah.
But
I think it's rational. I mean, I totally get it. I'm thinking about like creepy crawlies. I can't see fucking silverfish or centipedes.
Dude, no
Those
way.
shits are like,
oh my God.
They're like, nah. First of all, not only am I like running out of the house, but before I run out of that house, I'm gonna try to find it so I can slaughter it.
Dude, I was at I stayed at my girlfriend's house one night, and
shout out Christine. Woo.
And she's a school teacher, so she goes to work pretty early. And I remember waking up, and for whatever reason, I was sleeping on my back. I usually sleep right on my face, but I was on my back, and I opened my eyes, and I could see something on the ceiling, and I couldn't tell what it was. My eyes aren't great, so it was a little blurry. It wasn't moving or anything, but all I could think in my mind was, that's a silverfish.
Yep.
Because I've seen them in there before. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I tried to go back to sleep, and I could not go back to sleep. It's all I was thinking about. And like an hour or two went by, and I just kept staring at it, you know?
Yeah, the adrenaline.
And I was like, man, I want to get it, but it's on the ceiling. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, maybe I'll just jump up there and hit it with a shoe or something. But I was like, oh, what if it falls? And her laundry was like under there.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I moved her whole bedroom, moved everything away from the walls. I went and got the broom, and her cat is like real mean, and she hates the broom. I didn't know this until this happened.
Oh shit.
And I hit it, and of course it fell. Thankfully I moved her laundry. It was a silverfish. It shriveled up and died.
Oh shit. After you hit it.
After I hit it with the broom.
Cool.
So now I'm like, oh, I can't just leave it there, because she's gonna freak out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already free. I'm all like skeeved out. I'm like,
yeah. So you put it under a microscope and examined it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I go on and get the vacuum. Didn't realize the cat hates the vacuum more than she hates the broom.
Mm-hmm.
I vacuum it up, and now I'm trying to leave the room, and her cat's like pawing at me and like hissing, and like again, her cat's real mean. Like she'll claw you for no reason.
Yeah.
She's super adorable, and I love her to death. But she'll just get you.
Yeah.
And,
this is now a cat adjacent podcast.
Yes, it is. But yeah, so yeah, that was my last experience with the silverfish.
Yeah.
And my whole day was basically ruined.
Yeah, for sure. May it be your last experience, by the way.
Hopefully it is. Those things can go to hell.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Supposedly they eat spiders, though.
They do. It's this weird chain of command with insects that we all hate.
Mm-hmm.
They all do something that makes us happy in one way, and in the way that they kill another insect that you hate.
Like the grosser they are, the more stuff they kill.
Yeah. I like spiders the most. Not only do I weirdly think spiders are cute, they also kill mosquitoes, which are my least favorite insect of all time.
I actually had a spider in my bathroom catching some of the fruit flies.
Good.
And I let it live.
Good.
I did not want it. I did not want to, but
it's one of those ironic things. The thing that you fear is your protector at the same time.
I was like, you can hang out in here, but you got to be out in like a week.
Yeah.
I was like, here's your eviction notice.
Yeah. That's very Providence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But yeah, I guess kind of to bring it all back. Yeah, we're gonna kind of talk about a lot of different things on the show.
Yeah.
We want to kind of keep it to one episode a month. We're both busy, but we want to I don't know, we want to kind of just give people like our take on just certain things, like being in a band and some of the work I do, like photo, video, audio. We want to talk a little bit about like some educational stuff about it, but coming from someone who's self-taught and all of those things, it's like I'm not an expert, but I do the stuff professionally.
And, you said do.
And then some of the things, as two people with anxiety,
and ADHD,
some of the things that might hold you back from doing things like going to the bar by yourself, going to the movies by yourself, hanging out, being a person.
Yeah. There's some sort of like relationship we both share with being an anxious person who doesn't know how to do a lot of things with confidence, but also being entirely self-reliant.
Yeah.
which is I can't stress enough for that specific person. It's really important to find your own way and make your own rules, because that's the only way you're going to get by. You're never going to find somebody who you trust enough to give you advice to do the things you love, like be it music or if you want to be a filmmaker or whatever the fuck you want to do. This applies to everything in life, not even just the arts.
Yep. Just kind of like things that we've learned and gone through that other people aren't going to talk about, because honestly, a lot of it's awkward and weird. And I don't know. We just want to keep it real. Like, we're not going to edit any of this. You're just going to
for sure
hear and listen to the whole show straight through. And
everything you heard today was completely unscripted.
Yes.
To the point where we maybe had a rough idea of what we might have wanted, which was who starts, and that's it. And what you've heard today is that this is probably going to be the blueprint for many episodes to come, because I think, that's there's a lot to talk about and a lot to touch base on here. But
we definitely plan on having some guests. Actually, I'm really looking forward to having Danielle on the show.
Danielle's gonna be fun.
We want to go over some bar etiquette.
Bar etiquette's gonna be fun. For those of you who don't know, it sucks to be a bartender sometimes for various reasons.
Yes.
For those of you who go to the bar, you might be the reason why it sucks to go to a bar.
Especially for a bartender that identifies as female.
Absolutely. Kind of comes with the territory, sure. She's another great example of introverted extrovert, which a person you might view as, oh, she's such an extrovert. Actually, she's completely introverted.
I've hung out with Danielle outside of work probably less than 5 times, and I've known Danielle for about 10 years. And at work, super outgoing, life of the party. When we're just hanging out, for the most part, pretty quiet. Not always.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get her to go out.
Absolutely. She loves her home. She loves the small comforts of her home.
Yep.
And I totally get that completely.
Yep. And it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to say to maybe wrap up?
No, I think that's it for this episode.
Awesome. Well, it's actually been surprisingly awesome this whole time to do this. Yeah. And we'll talk to you guys next time, and you'll get an idea of what we're doing more so as it goes on.
Yes. Peace.